welcome to another Awaken Chaos Era video. So today's video we're going to be looking at the rookie summon. So the last video that we uploaded, I showed you who I chose and some other summons that I did. But what I want to do is go through the 7 heroes that are available to us. What I'm doing is we're going to look at each of the heroes, look at all their skills, and I'm going to give you my opinion on which I think that you could potentially choose and explain why I think you should choose them. Ultimately, it's up to you, but I just want to kind of give my opinion and my experience on playing these types of games to see, which hero you should maybe choose as a good starter to help you progress through the game as quickly as possible. So, hope you enjoy the video and let's get into it. Hey, welcome to today's video. What we're looking at today is the rookie summon heroes that are available to us. We're going to look through each one of those and see which one would be a good pick and see if you would like to re-roll which your pick, which your summons were, or if you want to keep one of the ones you have. So we're going to go ahead and look at those through the index right now, take a look at their skills, and see which one we should keep. So first here we're going to look at Hector.
A painful death will follow my enemies.
So great attack at 1440, 8%. Great crit there. So he deals out a lot of damage. He is probably the hardest single hitter out of all the group. So if you look at his basic skill, applies damage up and then deals 100% damage to any enemy. We look at his special, deals 100% damage to an enemy and applies increased damage taken for 2 turns. Max 2 stacks, cannot be used without axe. And then the ultimate, recalls all thrown axes, deals 200% damage to an enemy and grants 1 bonus turn for every axe. So essentially the way his skills work is he throws out an axe. I think it's this skill right here, War Axe Throw. So every time he uses this, it's considered him throwing an axe. So once you use this twice, you can't use it again unless you recall your axe. If you happen to already have your axes, then you get bonus turns. And then this here, on top of it, is we get more damage. So you've got, after it's ascended, 50% max damage. Then you've got damage up, which gives you an additional 50% damage. Then you've got damage, increased damage taken for the enemy, so that's another 30%. And then I don't think this does, yeah. So you're looking at 30%, 80%, and then another 50%. So you're looking at 130% of additional damage once this is maxed out that he does on a single target. So he is a bomber for single target damage. I used him in closed beta 2, and he definitely hits very, very hard. Alright, next we're going to head to what I think may be the best farmer in the game, Valeria. Some people disagree, but her attack, 1440, good number as well. 8% crit rate, speed, not too bad at 105. So her trait here, reduces all ability cooldowns by 1 turn upon the death of an enemy. Reduces all ability cooldowns by 1 turn upon the death of any unit. So if she kills an enemy, resets all ability cooldowns. If anybody dies, whether it be a teammate or an enemy, resets cooldown by 1. A1, defense down, which is always great. 100% damage to 2 enemies with a 50% chance to apply that for 2 turns. Then we've got an AoE on the second, deals 100% damage to all enemies and recovers health equal to 20% of damage dealt. So she heals herself as she's dealing out damage, which makes her a good farmer because she's going to continue to do that. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. And then if we look at the last skill, again AoE, converts 30% of this character's current health into 180% damage to all enemies. So she's basically going to, as she's healing herself, she's given herself more potential damage in this last skill here, and then grants a bonus turn upon the defeat of an enemy. So if she kills an enemy, she gives herself a bonus turn. She also, as we look at this first skill here, reduces the cooldowns of her skills. So she has a lot of good utility to be a self-sustainer, which is why a lot of people think that she is the best farmer of all of the heroes that you get to start the game. Next one we're going to look at here is Balabareth. So a little bit higher attack at 1466, but he is a little bit slower at 92 speed. The cool thing about him is his ultimate skill. No, I'm sorry, his trait here. He will revive upon death and then heal for 30% health, and resets the cooldowns of all active abilities. And then once it's ascended, you get a 60%. So this is a revive that is a single use during the match, unless the ultimate skill is procced. So if we look here, deals 280% damage to an enemy, refreshes this character's trait ability if the enemy is killed. So it's on a 3-turn cooldown, which once it's maxed out. So whenever this hero dies, he gets revived. And then whenever he kills somebody, it refreshes every 3 turns once it's maxed out. So he definitely can keep himself alive in battles, which is there's only 2 people I believe who have reviving. He is the one who revives himself, and there's another character who revives others. So if we look at his basic skill, has a stun on A1 with a 30% chance. That is a bit low for a legendary. Looking at the second skill, 120% damage to all enemies, so he's got an AoE on the second skill, which is always good to have AoEs. And then damage increases if the target has negative effects. So you want to pair him with somebody who pumps out debuffs on the enemies, which will grant additional damage. And then, as we said, 280% damage, and then resets his cooldown. So he's an interesting unit which will allow you to last a little bit longer. But in overall utility, I don't think he is the best choice to go with. If you pull him, he would be good, but I don't think he'd be good as a starting, one of your rookie summons. Alright, so this is Mathesia. She is the other one who offers reviving. During CB2, I really wanted her, never got a hold of her. CB3, I used her, and she wasn't as good as I hoped she would have been. She's great, has really good utility, definitely going to be super helpful. Amazing health at 7120. Speed is really good at 116. We look at her skills here. The abilities of all team members recover 5% of max health if the target has a positive effect, and then 10% of max health. So she heals the team members around her, which again, whenever you have a healer, especially on a passive or a trait, that's always good. A1 deals 50% damage to an enemy and grants a shield for 2 turns to the ally with the lowest health, and the shield strengths with this character's max health, which is why her health is really high, and you obviously want to stack as much health on her as possible with the gear. Looking at the second skill, heals an ally and removes all negative effects from them. Healing scales this character's max health. So she's got a cleanse of all debuffs, also heals based on max health. And then we got a cooldown, and then the healing increases. And then her ultimate skill heals all team members and revives all slain allies. Healing scales with this character's max health. Cooldown is extended by 2 turns for every ally revived. So this is the last part of this is what I kind of didn't like about it. So let's say it's on a 4-turn cooldown and you revive 3 allies. Now you're adding 6 more, so you're looking at 10 turns before this is able to be used again. That's the only downside about it. It's great because she does offer that revive and then also that heal at the same time. So on paper, it's really good, but practically, because of the amount of time it takes for this skill to be used again, that's where it's a little bit problematic. Because when you're in a battle, as the battle progresses, the difficulty and the damage dealt typically ramps up. So, you know, if you use this earlier on in a match, and then you've revived your whole team, you're going to last maybe 1 or 2 more rounds or attacks from that boss or something like that before your team's dead again. She does have a lot of good utility. She offers heals, she offers shield, she offers revive. Cool champ to have, hero to have, but not somebody who I would say you would want to pull or select as your rookie hero. Because she is unique and is one of the few that offers a revive, that's where I thought it's somebody who I wanted to, because there's a lot of different people who offer damage, but it just wasn't worth it, and having somebody who can farm better and deal more damage to get through waves throughout the game was more beneficial than somebody who offered that unique skill set. Alright, so next we've got the hero that I chose. I call her Eve because I don't know if it's Evra, Evira, I don't know exactly, so I just call her Eve. But, you know, 1440 looks like the almost identical attack on most of them. Pretty good health also, and then a decent speed. Really anything above 100 is pretty good. So we look at her trait here. +1 rage per valid hit on an enemy. It can stack up to 4. Converts all rage into a bonus attack with artillery support on reaching match rage. So basically, whenever she lands a hit, so if it's an AoE and she hits 4 enemies, that counts as 4 hits right there. And then if we look at the Ascended version, grants attack up at the start of the battle, which is key for her skill set. So if we look at her first skill, deals 80% damage to an enemy with 30% chance to apply bleeding. So bleeding is always good to have. Gives you that damage over time for 2 turns. If affected by attack up, then launches a bonus attack with gunfire. So, like I said, that attack up is important. So, you know, once you can get that ascended, once that attack is up every turn she's going to go twice. So if we look at her second skill, similarly, deals 100% damage to an enemy, and it removes a positive effect from the target, so it's a strip, which is good. If affected by attack up, then launches a bonus attack with gunfire. So we see again, attack up, bonus attack again. And we look at her third skill, deals 100 to 200 damage to all enemies, so an AoE, and grants attack up to this character for 3 turns. So it's good that her A3 or her ultimate gives you your attack up, so that allows your second and your first skills to give you that additional turn. But then once you get that trait ascended, you're always going to have attack up, so you're always going to go multiple times. So that's one of the reasons why I selected her, is because she's got an AoE on 3. She gives attack up for 3 turns. Her second skill has a strip as well as an additional shot, and then her first has bleeding plus an additional shot. So I thought her kit was really cool. She was not in CB2, so that's another reason why I wanted to use her. And I think her character model's cool. I've always liked pirates. So that's the reason why I selected her. I think her kit's very unique. I think she can be a good farmer. But there are some better options for farming. Like we saw the... what was her name? Valeria. There you go. Valeria has 2 AoEs, and typically AoE skills is what you want for somebody who's going to be your farmer. Alright, so then now we've got these last 2 here. So we've got Molehex, little light on the attack, but he does have a good amount of health and a good amount of speed. So if you look at his trait, any attack by an ally affected by attack up against an enemy reduces this character's abilities cooldown by 1 turn. And we look at the Ascended, any attack by any or an ally buffed with a positive effect. So if you put a any kind of buff on your team, it's going to reduce his cooldowns by 1 turn. So you definitely want to make sure that you stack him with somebody who has that available. We look at the first skill, defense down. Anytime you have a defense down on an A1, that's great. It is only a 30% chance. That's one thing that I don't like about that I've noticed with these is some of the percentages of the debuffs is a little bit lower in this game than some other games. I could see maybe a 50 or a 70% chance would be much better. But, hey, 30%, it is what it is. So if you look at second skill here deals 100% damage to all enemies. So we got an AoE here. If this character has attack up, then launches a bonus attack with this ability. So attack up on him so far resets the cooldown by, was it by 1? By 1 turn. And then here in the second skill, it also offers an additional attack. And if we look at this last skill here, deals 150% damage to an enemy and applies defense down for 2 turns. Grants attack up to all team members for 2 turns. So we see that his last skill grants attack up, which, if you could pair him with Eve would be great because attack up is what she, which makes her kit super useful as well. So this looks like a guaranteed defense down. So it's not based on a percentage of it landing. It's based on the accuracy and of the resistance. So he's got 2 defense down skills, which is helpful. He's got his attack up that grants additional attacks on his second skill and then helps with his cooldowns. This can get down to a 5-turn cooldown. He's got a second skill AoE. I don't think his kit is viable enough to be your first choice. He does have some good utility in it, with it allowing you to attack up all of your teammates, which is going to pump out 30% more damage for you, and it's also going to reset his cool, or it's going to cool his skills down faster by having the attack up. But I just don't think that is enough to warrant to use him as your first choice. And then lastly, which many people say is the best choice, is Hydressa. I did use her during the third CB closed beta. Her attack is a little bit lighter because I believe it was 1600 for some of the other ones. But as well her speed is a little bit lighter. But if we look at her skills here, attacks have a 50% chance to grant a bonus attack that deals 50% damage to all enemies. And then it's 80% ascended. So right off the bat, every attack she does has a 50% chance to AoE. Primary skill. Deals 100% damage to an enemy with a 50% chance to apply slows for 2 turns. So a speed slow is definitely beneficial. Anytime you have a debuff on your first or your basic attack, it's always going to be beneficial. Looking at the second attack, deals 100% damage to all enemies and applies speed down. So AoE on 2 with more speed down is super helpful. And if you look at the cooldown, that is available every turn. Like there's only a 1 cooldown on it. So that is super beneficial. If we look at her ultimate here, deals 100% damage to all enemies. So again, you've got another hero here that's got 2 AoEs. Hydressa then throws ice spears at all enemies, each dealing 25% splash damage to nearby enemies. So she's going to give you the most area of effect damage, her and Valeria. So in my opinion, those 2 would be the best 2 to start with, specifically for farming, specifically for wave clearing. I think Eve and Hector are also good options. If you want a single target bomber, he's gonna pump out the most damage to an individual target. And I think Eve has a good mix of skills that are going to go multiple times. That's going to help you pump out more damage as well. So those are all the heroes that are given to us at the beginning of our rookie summons. And that was kind of a look at all of them and which ones you might want to choose. I hear a lot of people asking, hey, should I choose this one over that one? So what I wanted to do is kind of give some advice, some perspective and opinion on who you should choose. As I said, the Hydressa and Valeria are by far the better two of all of them. The next ones I said would be Eve and Hector. And then, you know, Balabareth and Hydressa, or what is her name? The healer. Can't think of it right now. They are going to have good utility, but I just don't think that's somebody good to choose as your starter. They would be helpful if you had them because they do offer that ability to revive, Mathesia, there you go, or to heal. But they're just not going to give you the damage that you really want to start out the game to help you with farming gear, farming essences, and farming the stuff you need to help build up your characters. So that's our video today. I hope you know, I provided you some information that was beneficial. If you could, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I read through the comments and I reply to all of them. I hope you have a blessed day, and looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.